Good evening, folks. Just give us a few more minutes. We're going to get set up here. In the interim, though, if you are here to speak on any item on tonight's agenda, we do invite you to fill out a card. We have them up at the front here. I already have 3 cards on 2 separate items. Again, if you're interested in speaking this evening, the pink cards, please. Go ahead and grab one, fill it out, and give it to staff, and they will turn it over to us. Thank you for your patience. We'll get started momentarily. Okay. We're going to call to the order the meeting of the Planning Commission's meeting for July 10th, 2018 at 7 p.m. Pledge of Allegiance. Actually, I'm sorry, I asked Commissioner Redholz to lead us today, but I will sign you up for the next one. Commissioner Castillo. Just observing a moment of silence here. Thank you for that, Commissioner Reynolds. Everyone, please be seated. Thank you. It's going to take me a while there to get used to it. Okay, we did have the Pledge of Allegiance, the moment of silent prayer. Roll calls, Jeff?
Commissioner Holtz? Here. Commissioner Redholz?
Here.
Commissioner Castellanos?
Here.
Commissioner Hing?
Here.
Chairman Jimenez?
Here. Approval of minutes for the regular meeting of June 26, 2018. Any comments, corrections from the Commission? Seeing none, do stand as approved. Oral communication, this is a time and place when any member of the public may speak to the Commission on items that are not agendized for this evening's agenda. This is the moment where you can come up and speak to us. Is there anyone here from the public that would like to address the Planning Commission under oral communication? Seeing none, that's the conclusion of oral communications. We will have on the back end another opportunity for oral communication on items not agendized this evening. Moving forward to public hearings. The first one is an administrative use permit 17-45. This is a categorical exemption for the property at 2541 Elena Avenue. The applicant is requesting the approval of an administrative use permit for a second-story addition to allow for a deck and a sunroom located at the rear of the existing single-family residence. Jeff and staff, do you have a presentation for us?
Yes, our planning associate, Christine Del Strinos, will be presenting that report.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chairman and fellow planning commissioners. Tonight I will be presenting to you administrative use permit number 17-45 and subcommittee design review number 17-81. The mentioned entitlements are requested for 2641 Elena Avenue. The applicant is requesting an administrative use permit for a maximum unit size exception, a second-story balcony exceeding 200 square feet, and second-story addition for lots with an area under 20,000 square feet. The maximum allowable unit size is 3,999 square feet, or 50% of the lot area, whichever is less. The subject property is 5,748 square feet. Therefore, the maximum allowable unit size for the property is 2,874 square feet. An administrative use permit is required for a maximum unit size when the proposed addition exceeds the maximum allowable unit size. Additionally, an administrative use permit is required for a second-story addition and a balcony that exceeds 200 square feet. On April 24, 2018, the Planning Commission continued the item with direction that the applicant redesign the second-story addition to be more consistent with the neighboring residences. For a little backstory, just to kind of remind us of the history of this property, in October 3, 2017, a stop work notice was issued by the building department, and on December 15, 2017, the applicant submitted the AUP application for the proposed additions. The applicant has stopped construction and is continuing to work with staff on the processing of the administrative use permit that is before you today. Additions made to the front elevation and to the second story of the residential property are required to be reviewed by the Subcommittee Design Review Board. The proposal was reviewed by the Subcommittee Design Review Board on February 27, 2018. Subcommittee directed staff to continue the AUP process of mailing the public notifications for a 10-day public review period. During that public review period, staff received requests for a public hearing. The proposal was therefore scheduled for Planning Commission review on April 24. On April 24, staff presented the application to the Planning Commission. Members of the neighborhood attended the meeting addressing their concerns, which included concerns of illegal construction, public nuisance, obstruction of neighboring views, and inconsistency to the existing neighboring architectural designs. The Commission addressed the concerns that the proposed second-story addition is architecturally inconsistent with the neighboring residences. The Commission continued the application with the direction that the applicant work with staff to redesign the second-story addition. The applicant took into consideration the Planning Commission and staff's recommendation to redesign the second-story addition to be consistent in roof pitch and architecture as the existing home and neighborhood. The applicant redesigned the second-story addition to incorporate a gable roof and floor-to-ceiling windows on the north, east, and south elevations to maintain the intention of a second-story sunroom. The subject property the information that is on the screen is pretty much the summary of the information that was given to the last Planning Commission, but I will go ahead and leave that there, but I will go through the site plan to show you the changes that the applicant has made, which is pretty much what we will be reviewing today. So again, the modifications to the house is going to be on the front and to the rear of the residence. And there is going to be one clarification that one of the residents has made. They were speaking that I think it's going to be on one of the attachments. It's attachment 1. That there was an addition that was misinformed on the set of plans. So what you have before you on the screen is the right information in terms that there is technically about 50 square feet that would be added to the rear of the second story, which would be this area right here. In the plans that was given to you, it seemed like it was already existing when in reality it was an addition. So we had that clarification with the designer as well as the homeowner. And here is the roof plan. This roof plan doesn't show that it would be using a gable roof pitch, but you will be seeing it on the elevations. And this is the front addition, or the front elevation. And then so this is pretty much what was discussed, or what the issue was, is that prior the second story addition had this, I guess you could say, angular architectural style, which is right here. And now the homeowner is proposing this gable roof style, but still maintaining the windows to create a sunroom. And here from the north elevation, you will see the difference between this kind of vertical shed looking roof to this gable style roof pitch. And here it would be from the south elevation. The proposed second-story balcony, first-story addition, and second-story addition are in compliance with the municipal code. The applicant has took into consideration the direction that the commissioners have given from the last meeting on April 24 and have incorporated a gable-style roof in order to be consistent with the existing residents as well as the neighboring residents. Staff recommends that the approval of administrative use permit number 1745 and subcommittee design review number 17-81. I believe that the applicant as well as the homeowner is present, so if you have any questions, they're here as well as me. Thank you.
Christine, thank you for that presentation. Any questions from the commission?
I have just for clarification, in the initial staff report from the previous meeting, it indicated that we were being asked to legalize what was already done. Correct? And
yes.
Yeah? Okay, because this one, I assume, and I hate to use the word assume, but in the analysis, it says the staff report and minutes from April 24, that meeting are included in this staff report. So is that, in other words, we're still doing that? We're still being asked to legalize that?
Yes, you're still being asked to legalize whatever is technically existing.
Well, let's be clear. The Planning Commission isn't approving a building permit. So whatever is approved tonight, they'll have to go through the building department and they'll decide what can remain that's there and what cannot, because it has to be rebuilt per the building code.
Yeah.
So I don't know that, is the front elevation changed?
Not that I'm aware of.
I think they've started work on the balcony.
I think they've started work. Whatever was there back in 2000, I think it was 2017, that they had a stop work order. From what the applicant has told me, that they haven't done any work. So I'm unsure if there has been changes or not. But like what Jeff said, this is pretty much an approval for them to move forward to get building permits.
Okay, just what I'm referencing is in the initial staff report, project description analysis, there are 4 bullet points. Bullet point number 2 is legalized second-story addition.
Yes.
140 square feet to be a sunroom, and the third one is legalize a second-story balcony that exceeds the 200 feet, whereas the proposed balcony is 230 square feet. So is that what we're doing tonight?
Yes, that's included in that.
I think that the choice of words we use tonight is better than the one we used before, because legalize is not a really good word to use at the Planning Commission stage, because you could think you're legalizing some, but when the building inspector goes out there and finds that the footings aren't constructed right, the whole thing has to come down anyway, and it doesn't matter what you called it or what we called it. Right. So that I think is an important point. I'm glad you mentioned that. Okay,
well that's why.
And we're not using that term in this staff report or in the resolution.
Right, because I noticed it wasn't there, but it was there in the first one.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Any additional questions? Okay. We're going to open up the public hearing or invite the applicant to come and provide any information, updates, additional information that we should consider as well as part of our decision-making process this evening. Please step to the podium.
Like I said, because, per our discussion in our previous...
I'm sorry, before continuing, can you say your name and address for the record, please?
Okay, my name is Jiahui Tang. I'm one of the owners at the property that in discussion. And the other owner is actually my mother, who's also at the audience today. But she speaks very limited English, so she, referred me to doing the presentation. So I just want to show the commissioner what the previous house looked like before we took it over in 2016. So as you can see...
Can you please pass that to Jeff?
Sorry, I only made one copy.
Fine.
So as you can see from the photos, the property at the time has a shed roof sunroom. It was made of wood and plastic. The plastic wasn't secured properly, and I later find out through the city building department that this sunroom doesn't have a permit. So, well, first we thought we're just gonna live with it for a while, but the thing is, when it starts raining and when the weather's become windy, the shower room, the sunroom will actually like shake a bit left and right. And as you can also see from the photo itself, the beams underneath it's already start tilted. So we had the plan at that time to tear it down and build nicer ones. And unfortunately, I didn't apply for permit right away. I commissioned and my architect at that time to apply for permit for both the sunroom and the structure walls removals in the first floor. But unfortunately, the architect at the time, he only took time to do the interior permit, but leave the exterior ones, Basically, she left the job right after she did one part of permit, and my contractor at the time decided to went ahead with the building of the sunroom without my knowledge that the permit wasn't. I thought it was in process, but I didn't know what the stage of process it was. I only found out last year that the permit wasn't properly acquired, and we actually put a stop order out voluntarily before the city issued a stop order. And because I was also pregnant at the time. So basically we stopped all work March last year and until now. And for our discussion, I want to apologize. Last time, Christine did mention about the previous design of the butterfly style roof might be a problem with the consistency of the neighborhood. But, I do have my own, interest for that because, it's the cheapest way to construct it because it doesn't require the tear down of the existing roof. But like we discussed in the previous session, both the committee and the neighbors considered that roof wasn't very consistent with the neighborhood, and so we instructed my engineer to redesign it to a more traditional style gable. So that's why I'm here.
Okay, so you read the staff report. You're aware of the conditions of approval that are being placed on this application,
Yes.
which would include, to a certain degree, the redesign.
Yes.
Okay. Any additional questions from the commission? No? Okay. We're going to invite some members of the community to come and talk under
Sure.
public testimony, and we may invite you back to rebut. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
At the moment, I do have 3 speaker cards. If you're interested in speaking on this item, please make sure to fill out a card and hand it over to staff. They will make sure that we receive it. So I have 3 cards at the moment, and I'm just going to go in alphabetical order. Carla Agee. And you have 5 minutes.
My name is Carla Agee, and I live at 2647 Elena. My house is south of 2641 Elena. I am right next door. Since March of 2016, over 2 years ago, there have been many things that have caused concern with the property at 2641. For example, the demolition debris piled in the front yard for long periods of time. Also, the debris that resided in the driveway for nearly a year has been moved to the side yard, where now the gate often stands open. The demolition of all the back walls of the existing house, except for the master bedroom and bath, creates a concern for structural integrity in the house. It may be a contributing factor to a rat problem that we understand exists. On April the 22nd, code enforcement advised the owner that she needed to keep the property clear of trash, discard overgrown vegetation, secure the pool. On the 23rd, she had 2 men move the pool fence to the side yard from the side yard where it had been stored, since it was removed in March of 2016 to a spot near its place of origin. It was leaned against a very short block wall and 2 sections tied together with a couch pushed against it to hold it up. According to code enforcement, it is secure, and I have a serious problem with that one. Since then, a gardener has trimmed some vegetation, leveled out the front yard, and planted grass. Her visiting mother has trimmed some of the vegetation and planted more trees. It appears that the owner does only what she must in order to get by. That is our and many of our neighbors' concern. We fear that the property, which seems to get more trashed as time goes by, will end up being abandoned in a state of near total destruction. At the last public hearing, April 24th, the Planning Commission recommended that the owner acquire the services of an architect, designer, and/or engineer to help with the design. It appears the recommendation is not taken. The current condition of the property suggests the need for qualified design, planning, and construction. We believe that close supervision of any construction project will be required in order to guarantee completion. The proposed plan now submitted, if approved, will create a blank wall close to the property line on our side, blocking any view from the side of our existing balcony. If constructed as proposed, I can't imagine it will improve neighbor relations.
Thank you. Robert Agee?
Before I speak, I would like to ask a question. I believe I heard them say that it was approximately...
The mic, please.
Approximately 50 square feet of added area that was shown as existing area on the original plan that was submitted. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, well, according to my figures, my house is a direct opposite floor plan of the property in question. And there is a 4'6" by 16'6" offset on the back of the house where this addition is being proposed. And 14'6" by 16'6", according to my figures, amounts to more like 74 square feet. The downstairs bedroom has also been extended out to that same general area on the first floor. So if I can read the rest of my statement, I will. Okay, my name is Robert Agee, and I live next door to the south of the property at 2641 Elena Avenue. My concerns and objections to this proposed sunroom are as follows. Since March of 2016, many alterations to the house have been made, some with a building permit and others without a permit. The present condition of the property raises many questions as to the probability of the completion of a structurally sound project as proposed. The revised plan, as submitted, does not show the existing house accurately, which makes it appear that the additions to the house are smaller. Construction was done without a permit, adding a deck measuring approximately 4'6" by 16'6", which is shown as existing on the plans that I saw when I went to see what was going on. The downstairs bedroom has been extended into the same area on the first floor and is only missing the back wall. The front first floor addition dimensions make it difficult to know what is proposed. So is the Planning Commission supposed to look at a drawing of elevations and accept it as accurate, give their approval based on inaccurate, misleading plans that were submitted? Also, if the plans are not accurate, what would the contractor build? I must admit, the revised plan appears to address the water issue of the previous proposal, but it also creates a huge blank wall a few feet from our existing balcony, blocking any other view. Not at all to my liking. I question what a single mother with a baby living in a 4-bedroom house is going to do with a second-story sunroom 15 foot by 6 inches by 12 foot 4 inches attached to an existing master bedroom that is 16 foot 6 inches by 14 foot. If she were to subsequently remove the wall between the bedroom and the sunroom, it would make the room 32 feet long front to back. The second-story proposed sunroom extending rearward 15 foot 6 inches from the true existing of the back of the house is supported primarily by 4 square tubes, raised many other concerns. Concerns like wind shear, earthquake, and vertical loads. Others like foundations poured but not inspected. Should the Planning Commission choose to approve this proposal, I would ask you to make it conditional on first completing all other exterior wall construction not involved with the proposed sunroom. I would also like engineering figures for wind shear and earthquake and vertical loads to be required prior to commencement of construction of the sunroom. In the event of a structural failure, we understand that the proposed sunroom could possibly pivot and end up on our property. Should this occur, the responsible parties will be held accountable. Thank you.
Luciano? And are you for or against?
Oh, well, I'm against.
Okay.
I wanted to hear something from the neighbors and hear something today before deciding. Really, I don't have anything against the applicant or anything. I live down the street, really not in the neighborhood, but I have concerns about about what's been going on in the neighborhood. Now, I'm not hearing a lot of good things about how long this has been going on, and I'm concerned with what I'm seeing about the cleanliness, or hearing, actually, I'm not really seeing myself, but about the cleanliness and the neatness about what's going on here. I'm just seeing a lot that I just don't like with this, but trying to keep an open mind. I understand that the applicants have to do something. I think it can't just leave it the way it is, but I'm concerned for the design looks better on paper, but I have to defer to the neighbors and their concerns. And I'm really concerned with basically their quality of life, which and how that would be affected by this project and by how long it's gone on. So whatever, I'm against this now, but whatever they decide to do, I want the concerns of the neighbors, especially the next door neighbors, to really be held to heart. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a card for Mercedes Pinel. I believe it's for this item, item number 2. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, please.
Yes. My name is Mercedes Pinel, and I live in 2648 Delena Avenue. And I want to ask, how is this okay to ask for forgiveness instead of permission? Our neighbors have one simple balcony was denied by the city sold his house because of these expenses. Is not our problem. Should have moved to Walnut, or she wanted a mansion, jacaranda trees, and will grow and break our sidewalk, and the back fences resisting, and the back not secure, held by ropes. She has security, the city, land, chicken, wire finding, planting, and the city land. Try to bribe the neighborhood, food, still is trash and the property size, houses, the pilot, couch, grounding a proud of his renovation with a cedar horrible present for our neighborhood. She should put the house back the original architecture, sell the house and move to remain a mansion. Thank you.
Thank you. I have one last card here from Bowen Yang. Again, if you're interested in speaking on this item, please fill out a card and turn it over to staff.
Hi, my name is Bowen Yang. I'm the designer for this project. So I took over this project last year around July. I took this project over around last year, July or September. So when I was first began working on this project, it was a really mess from the inside to outside of the house, and causing a lot of trouble to the neighbor, which Tracy already told me. So there's a long story behind that. Tracy is a friend of mine. A couple years ago, maybe 3 years ago, she was trying to make improvement to this house. but she wasn't giving a professional guidance how to make this improvement professionally and legally. And at that time, I didn't know her. I didn't know she was doing this, and until there's one day she mentioned this to me, and then I told her, you need to stop working on this, and you need to talk to the city and get everything legalized. And that's when I took over this project. I believe from the last meeting, there were some confusions on the measurement of the house, and those measurements, incorrect measurements or confusions have been clarified, which is showing on this site plan. If you can zoom into the proposed second-story addition, as the gentleman from our neighbor has mentioned, the depth of that addition, proposed addition to the sunroom, it's approximately 4 feet and 6 inches wide, which is consistent from what he was stating. So I think this is accurate based on my measurement, and I personally made that adjustment based on from the last meeting. So this should be stand as the most accurate drawing as of today. From the safety standpoint, we're still at a planning stage. We're trying to decide how this house should look like in the future, and we will follow. So the city has this process of doing this project. We will determine how this house should be built with a safety, with the safe material, and making sure this follows the latest seismic code and wind code. And at this stage, we're not sure yet, but I'm sure we'll reach that point to decide what material will make this house become safe. So,
We do have a couple questions.
yeah.
Commissioner Reynolds?
Yeah, I have a question for you. You're saying this is still a fluid process, that you're not done yet? That you don't know what you're going to do as you go forward? I'm a little confused, because tonight is the hearing, and we have to make a decision based on what is presented to us tonight.
Right.
Okay, we can't come back.
I don't know what to do. I'm saying we are following the city's procedure. First of all, we need to get through the planning stage. We need to decide what this house will look like.
So what is in front of us tonight that we're looking at, that is being presented, may not be what this house looks like when you're done. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying we will decide this house will look like on the exterior, but as we get to the building and safety step, we'll decide what material to choose to make this house safe. And that process includes the structural calculation of seismic, load calculation, wind calculations. That's when that calculation happens. And right now at this stage, we're trying to decide how this house will look like, exterior.
I'm very confused.
Maybe perhaps I could help a little bit.
Thank you.
I think what Bowen is trying to say is that there's an entitlement that has to happen, which is how the house looks. And planning, which is what we always tell people. Planning is where things are and how they look. How it's constructed is not planning. You guys are not talking about how it's constructed. You're not talking about wind load. You're not talking about earthquake safety. But the building code will require that. And Bowen is saying they haven't started preparing the construction plans. they're going to have to make a lot of decisions when they prepare the construction plans, because it's a two-story structure, and they've got to make sure the shear walls are correct. The building can stand up. They'll have to have an engineer to review it and stamp it. That's what he's saying hasn't been decided yet. So he's not saying that the plan will change. He's saying that the construction technique has not been decided. I believe I'm putting words in your mouth, but I think that's what he's saying. And that's and to be honest, that's normal. When you approve Portos, they didn't know how it was going to be constructed, but they hired an engineer and an architect, and they came up with plans, and they submitted them to the building department. They reviewed it, and they sent it out to whatever plan check correction people they needed, the experts, and they had to make sure the building codes followed, and they got permits based on that. They didn't get permits based on this set of plans that you're looking at. That's, you know, to be fair, and this is just about, you know, we're looking at pretty pictures. What the building code looks at is very different than what the pretty pictures we look at. And you may not think they're pretty pictures, I understand that, but that's what we're looking at. It's how it looks and where it's at. How it's constructed and what materials and how many nails and what size of members that join things together, all that's done at the building and safety stage. And it hasn't started. He hasn't even started preparing those plans yet.
Actually, I'd like to add something. Right now, Jeff is correct. We're at the entitlement stage, which means that we're deciding whether we're going to give him to approve or not approve the building of these little additions that he or they wanted. So he cannot go into the next stage without us approving the entitlement. So that's what we're doing tonight, is basically allow him to do the addition or not do the addition. And then after that, it belongs to a completely separate department that has their own engineering, their own plan checks, everything is completely separate, and we will not be involved in that section. As planners, we're just basically deciding tonight whether we're going to approve his or their additions in the back portion, which includes the porch and the sunroom. That's it. We're not going to decide on materials. That belongs to a completely separate department that they had to pay for, had 5 different other departments that has to get involved before they can even start building. The fire department, the engineering department, all of that has to go through. But right now we're at the beginning stage, just the planning. We just have to decide whether we want them to basically be allowed to add the additions for the sunrooms or the porch. That's what we're talking about tonight. So he cannot very well decide on all the other stuff without us giving them the entitlement to allow them to do the addition.
Can I add something more? So since and I really want to help out Tracy to finish this project, I will personally make sure Tracy will follow all the legal process that the city requires by the code ordinance, and I will try to steer Tracy in a professional direction, making sure all the trash, all the debris are being taken care of during the construction process or prior to the construction process. Also, making sure Tracy will hire a licensed general contractor, a licensed engineer to design this house safely and not causing any risk to any adjacent buildings or neighbors.
Okay, thank you for that, Bowen. We still have one more speaker card as well. Leticia Alvarez, name and address for the record, please. Thing 4. And you're here for?
Yes, for Tracy. My name is Leticia Alvarez. My husband and I are here for her. And we just want to support her. And I know all my neighbors care about, everything from the street. But I think we should her doing her plans. I just want to say to my neighbors, let's give a chance. to do her plans to build her house. She had a baby, and, she's stopped from almost more than a year, and I just want her to finish. I know we like our neighborhood, and if she finishes, everything is going to be okay. If she follows your codes, everything is going to be okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That represents all the speaker cards I have on this item. Would the applicant be interested in coming up and rebutting? Is that a no? Would you like to come and say any last minute items? Maybe you help her translate? Would that be okay, Jeff? Okay.
Speak for her, what does she want to speak? So this is from my mother. She want to apologize to all the neighbors that have a lot of concerns over our project taking, almost 2 years. Even though one of the year was, the whole thing was put at a stop, with the back walls being missing because we are right in the middle of construction, and then I become pregnant. So a lot of things I used to, can't be on top of, no longer possible. So after, giving birth to Lian earlier this year, I came back to try to finish a project. That's, when we submitted the plan last year, and, when we go through the first section of hearings in April, that's how for the first time I heard about, most neighbors were very annoyed by, what's going on with this construction. So I want to sincerely apologize to that. Most of the problems they addressed was real, like the debris and the piling up of construction trash, because my contract took off. So as me, I don't really know. I can't really separate the trash from the construction material. And, with the newborn babies, obviously I had my hands full, so I try to scramble as much as, like one neighbor says, the minimally I can do, but even though it's probably minimum for them, it's really I'm trying, So that's also we have like over 100-degree temperatures, in the past week and this past few days. We live in a house that we can't use the AC because, the backside was completely open, so render the AC completely useless. So in the past 2 days, we actually have to crash in a friend's house. But like I said, it's a friend. I don't want to bug them, for too long. So obviously, that's why my mother hope, the committee members consider those factors and try to give approval to, what we're proposing, Thank you.
Thank you.
And I also want to guarantee everyone's sitting here that, once we got all the acquired permit, we're going to try to finish the project, in 6 months, with everything's, done properly. Obviously it's a learning process for me too, and I learned a lot for the past 2 years. So I'll apply that to the, when the time comes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that represents all the public testimony on this item. We'll close the public testimony portion of the hearing. Commission discussion? Anyone? Yeah. Commissioner Castellanos, please.
Well, there's a lot of frustration, obviously, on the part of the neighbors, understandably so, but I think, as the applicant just mentioned, I think that was a sincere apology, and as staff mentioned, this is just the design phase, so talking about the specifics of engineering is a little premature. Very valid concerns, but it's not within our purview here. I think it's in everyone's best interest to keep this moving along, because any kind of punitive measures at this point out of frustration really hurt everyone, including the applicant. Thank you to the applicant for working with staff on this new design. I also want to let you know, if you need help with the debris, you could reach out to me through city staff. I have got a guy who can help take that to the dump. I'm sure the neighbors don't want to continue seeing any kind of debris. With all that being said, I I think it's time to move this along, and moving it along, I think, will address the neighbors' valid concerns of the trash, the way things look, and allowing everyone to resume peaceful lives, hopefully, and hopefully everyone will get along after that. That's the way I see things. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Anyone else? Are we ready for a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Perhaps I could help out a little bit here in giving you first of all, a resolution number, which is 18-5959. Second of all, probably should add some clarification to the resolution and we will accept the neighbor's comment that it's probably more like 60 square feet on that addition. And that would be in page 5 of the resolution on C, where it lists the things that are approved. It should say approximately 60 square foot addition, second story addition to the bedroom, because that should be in the reso. Additions to the ground floor they're ministerial, they're not discretionary. The AUP is for the second story addition, so we don't really have to focus on those too much, but that really should say approximately 60 square foot second story addition to the bedroom.
Okay, fair enough.
Thank you, Jeff. I'd like to make my motion with that amendment.
Okay.
Thank you.
I will continue my second for that. Do you need a roll call, Jeff?
Can I make a comment first on this? I'm going to be opposing this motion. I think that over this length of time, I still continue to hear excuses and I guess you could call reasons for mistakes, for things not being done, for the way it looks. You know, it's the weather. I mean, there's a lot of things. You know, it's some of them could be legitimate, and but I have concerns going forward that it's just, you know, you can't change the stripes. I just think it's going to continue to be a problem and an issue. And, you know, we have a motion and a second, and I just want to be said, I'm not comfortable at all. You know, there's still issues with what's on the plans, the measurements, the numbers, they're not right. You know, last minute changes. I just don't have a good feeling going forward. And I'm not going to be voting for this to go forward.
Thank you for that, Commissioner Redholz. Anyone else? Commissioner Holtz, please.
Well, I somehow agree with Commissioner Redholz, especially after the gentleman came up and said he wanted to help her, and then he said he was going to get some professional help. And that's what we asked for the first time, that they get some professional, licensed people to get involved in this. And it sounds to me that they don't have that yet. And I just don't see this as a completed plan to be presented to us. There's just too many loopholes in this thing, too many things outstanding, that I don't feel comfortable voting for it. Especially, again, being redundant, that they do not have professional licensed help yet. They're going to get that. Well, they said that last time, and we asked for that. They still don't have that. So until we see that and we see some professional licensed people getting involved in this, I'm not in favor of the project.
Thank you for that, Commissioner Holtz. I guess if I could just chime in, the way I interpreted the information, I believe what we were hearing is that for the technical, the structural component of the design, that maybe those particular individuals have not been brought on board because we have not approved the project, hence we haven't cut the project loose to go through the permitting process, which is an independent process than what we're looking at this evening. At least that was my understanding, not that I want to sway your opinion on that. At least that was my understanding of the information as far as a professional assistance. It seems from the design standpoint, the architectural component of the design, that's something that the applicant or Mr. Bowen, I believe, is able to provide. But in terms of stamping off the plans, shear load, technical analysis, all that has to be stamped off by the respective engineers in their respective disciplines. So again, those are just my 2 cents in this, not wanting to turn the boat the other way on this one. Thank you.
Let me rebut that, not rebut it, but just add to it. Who drew these plans? I mean, did somebody just sit down at a drawing board and draw them themselves based on no experience and no expertise? Because it doesn't sound to me like anybody in a professional nature drew these plans up. Did they?
Well, I'm not sure I can answer that question. We don't usually find out who drew the plans. Sometimes they're written on there. Maybe.
But I believe that Bowen was the one who worked on the plans.
And I don't know if you want to talk to him again, but
this gentleman here.
Yes, Bowen. But I don't know if you want to open up the hearing again. But yeah,
I would like to find out more information.
One thing I would say is that most of the time with house plans, they are not engineers or architects that are designing the house. Now we have some exceptions to that. We had one here a couple months ago that was definitely an architect. But most of the time we have additions. They're not architects. Sometimes they're people that work with contracts. We call them designers. It's a different thing. Larger buildings are different. They almost always have architects, and you'll see a stamp on them. But house plans, in my experience, generally do not have an architect or an engineer's stamp at this stage.
Well, I'd just like to know what is your professional background, sir?
I want to talk my background. So I have a bachelor degree in civil engineering, and I personally drew this plan under the supervision of a licensed engineer.
We don't know that, do we, other than what you're telling us?
Right, you haven't asked that question until now.
That's right.
But
that's why we're trying to find out.
But this is being exercised under the supervision of a professional licensed engineer. And the plan is drawing, is reflecting accurately to the fact.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not against. Thank you very much. That's all. Yeah, I'm not against this person remodeling their house and doing things, but just looking at the past and what's gone on in the past without getting permits, without things going on and telling them to cease and desist construction, and they went ahead with construction anyway. There's just too many, I don't know, just too many loopholes in this thing that I can't feel really comfortable with it. And the gentleman said he, drew these plans with some advice but we don't know that other than what he's saying. I just don't feel comfortable with it. I'd like to see something more finalized with some other approvals on it. That's all I'm saying. We got discussions about the different dimensions of the room sizes, and it just goes on and on and on, and that's why I don't feel comfortable with it. I'm sorry.
No, that's fair enough. Any additional comments, questions from the commission?
Well, I like to add that the existing condition is not going to improve unless we allow them to continue. As a city, we did stop order the work. So at this moment, it's going to look like as bad as it is if we allow them to continue so they can, continue with hiring the proper people to come and complete the project so that the neighborhood would look a little bit better after she finished. So not approving is not going to help the situations at this very moment in time because everything is taken apart in the back, I believe, some in the front. Whether it's, because right now it's basically, to me, it's entitlement. We have to provide them an okay or not to have the additions of the sunroom. And then this is basically a graphic design so that we can see what it will look like. Then after the entitlement is given by the 5 of us, if that happens, then that's when they can continue hiring an engineer or structural or fire department or whichever department that they need to work with. There are total 5 or 6 of them. I forgot exactly how many that they really had to work with to get the whole project done. At this moment in time, not a single engineer will work with them because they really don't have a plan to work with. So even if you want to hire someone, or they want to hire someone, no one's going to work with them because they're going to ask the first question is, well, what is it going to look like? And what am I going to design according to? Well, we didn't give them that entitlement. So they're stuck in a limbo. So in order to help improve the neighborhood and move this project going on, instead of having it delayed, by delaying it, it's not going to help it improve the neighborhood. That's how I see it. And the addition in the backyard is just a sunroom and a little square footage of a house. So I like to see, and it's you know, we can't leave it open forever. That's. How would you like to have something?
Can't do that, sir.
Please.
So that's all I have.
I have a question, if I may. The applicant mentioned, or maybe she even guaranteed it would be done in 6 months. Can we condition a time on this or no?
I believe that was Bowen that might have said that, not Tracy, but, okay, I'm sorry. Generally, I'm not sure that we can do that. The building code gives you certain, it gives you 6 months. It gives you a year to start work, and it gives you 6 months between, and you know that I think we could encourage them. We could put maybe a condition in there, but I'm not sure that we can really enforce that because I think the building code supersedes anything we would do here in terms of the rules and regulations within it. And just so, again, so everyone understands, the Planning Commission does not have control over the building code. The Planning Commission oversees the zoning code. Building code is adopted by the city, and it's the statewide building code, and so it stands on its own merits.
Okay. Now, we do have a motion already on the table here. Do we want to proceed with that, or is there an alternative recommendation? Okay. So we'll continue with the current motion. That was first by Commissioner Castellanos, second by myself. And roll call, I guess.
Yes. Commissioner Holtz?
No.
Commissioner Redholz?
No.
Commissioner Castellanos?
Yes.
Commissioner Hing?
Yes.
Chairman Jimenez?
Yes. Yes. So this action is final unless appealed to the City Council within 10 days. Please work with staff and they can provide information regarding the appeal process. Thank you, everyone, for your comments on this particular item. Do we want to move on to item 3 or just take a slight break? Okay. Okay.
If you want to, it's up to you. Just take a break, yeah.
Okay, item number 3 under tonight's agenda for public hearings is a precise plan 1804 with a categorical exemption from CEQA. The applicant is Bob Christoph for BMW Management Sizzler at 1100 West Covina Parkway. The request is a project, the project consists, I should say, of the expansion and remodeling of an existing restaurant. The applicant is proposing to enclose a previously existing 900 square foot outdoor seating area and construct a 1,050 square foot addition to the rear of the existing kitchen. Facade improvement is also proposed. Staff report, please.
Our planning assistant, Veronica Hernandez, will be presenting that report.
Thanks for the demotion, Jeff.
What did I say?
Yeah, planning assistant.
Our planning expert, Veronica Hernandez.
Thank you. Good evening, Chairman and members of the Commission. Again, the project consists of a proposal to expand and remodel the existing Sizzler restaurant located on the south side of West Covina Parkway, west of California Street. So here's the existing building. It's 5,915 square feet with a 956 square foot outdoor seating area. The restaurant is located within the West Covina Parkway Plaza Commercial Center. The subject property is zoned general urban and is part of the downtown plan. The chart included in your staff report details surrounding zoning and land uses. Per the California Environmental Quality Act, the project is considered categorically exempt. and that it consists of a remodel and small addition to an existing structure. Now, these may look a little familiar. On August 8th, 2017, the Planning Commission approved Planning Director's Modification Number 17-03 to enclose the existing outdoor seating area, improve the parking lot, and upgrade the facade of the building. The applicant later decided to propose an addition to the rear of the restaurant, which requires the approval of a precise plan. Staff is presenting all the improvements concurrently for clarity. The applicant is proposing to complete a remodel of the existing Sizzler restaurant. The interior of the restaurant will include new seating and decor, as well as accessibility upgrades. An existing outdoor patio area will be enclosed to allow for more seating. There will be a 1,050 square foot addition to the rear, and minor parking lot upgrades are also proposed for ADA accessibility. So the areas, and I'll have them outlined on the next slide as well, but we're going to enclose this outdoor seating area, addition to the back, and then these ADA parking improvements. There's no parking being lost. They're just making some ADA improvements. So we have the 1,050 square foot addition to the rear of the existing 5,915 square foot restaurant. The addition will include an expansion of the kitchen and a new indoor trash enclosure. The addition will maintain a 33-foot, 1-inch distance from the rear property line, and the drive aisle will remain unchanged. The area to be remodeled is currently paved with an existing landscape area and exterior trash enclosure area. New landscaping will be installed around the proposed addition. The applicant will be required to submit a landscape and irrigation plan as a condition of approval. The applicant is also proposing to enclose an existing 956 square foot outdoor seating patio area located on the east side of the existing restaurant building. The enclosed area will include a new storage room and add 36 seats to the restaurant. The remodeled restaurant will feature a total of 184 fixed seats. The applicant is also proposing facade renovations, including new paint, cultured stone veneer, new windows and awnings, and new architectural details. The applicant is proposing to install new windows along the northwest and east elevations. The windows will feature new dark red canvas awnings. Stone veneer will be added along the north elevation and portions of the east and west elevations. Additionally, new wall features are proposed along the north and west elevations. These wall features will incorporate a parapet roof, metal siding in a slate gray color, and metal-framed American flag artwork. Metal louvered siding will also be incorporated on the north elevation of the newly enclosed outdoor seating area, and a rod-supported steel canopy will be added above the north entrance to the restaurant. The building will be repainted in the following colors: dark green, yellow, light brown, dark brown, beige, and orange. In summary, the revised facade will add a variety of textures, colors, and detail, as well as modernize the building and create visual interest at the pedestrian level. The addition of the kitchen will allow them to increase their space, as well as have a more secure trash enclosure. The required findings have been made for the precise plan and are included in your staff report. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve precise plan number 18-04. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions, and the applicant is also here as well, if you can find him out there. It's a big crowd. Thank you.
Thank you for that report. Any questions from the commission? None? Okay.
Just to be clear, I mean, all the elevations, the north and all the other elevations we've already approved, right?
Basically, yeah. The only difference is on the rear, but it looks pretty much the same. It's just bigger.
Let's invite the applicant if he would like to provide a little bit of information, something we can consider as part of the proposal. Will it be unavailable for me to go eat my all-you-can-eat shrimp? Just very important stuff, yes.
Designer, BMW Management, 43172 Business Park Drive in Temecula. So I'm sitting here and I'm thinking maybe we should add a deck on the back of this. What do you think? No, really, there isn't a whole lot more we can say. Our last approval, we thought we were going to move forward on this thing very quickly, but my owner likes to change his mind a lot. So we figured if we're going to put that kind of money into this, we might as well make it bigger and make it more efficient. And so that's why we're doing the kitchen addition in the back.
Fair enough. Any questions from the commission?
So, yeah, thank you. So, since the last approval, you haven't done anything yet on that? Okay. So we're waiting to get this done, and then, so what are we looking at time-wise?
I hate to even tell you that. It's the way things go, so, you know, I'm hoping before the end of the year, so. I think last time I stuck my foot in my mouth and said, I think 3 or 4 months, but that didn't happen.
That didn't happen, no.
Let me put a 6-month condition on your case.
Yeah, that's right.
But building code does supersede that, so.
Just a construction question, will the Sizzler be operational or fully operational during the improvements, or will some of the areas be closed down pending those improvements?
You know, that's something we've been looking into, and I personally think, and I think the general consensus now is that we're going to have to shut it down for a period of time. We just finished the one in Ontario, and yeah, we run into so many issues with termites, dry rot, all kinds of things. There's just no way to keep it open. So I'm sorry. You can go over to Ontario and get all the shrimp you want.
You may condemn me. I may have to lose weight now.
I've been trying, but it doesn't work.
Okay, thank you for that. You know, that little outdoor patio area is so underutilized. I have to say, most of the times when I frequent the shopping center, I really don't see anyone using that space. So enclosing it, I think, would activate it and make it more useful for the Sizzler and their existing operation. So that's really it for me.
How many Sizzlers does your owner?
25.
He owns 25?
Yes. From San Diego to Cameron Park, which is on the way to Lake Tahoe, and Yuba City, up above Sacramento. So everything, quite a few going up the corridor.
Lots of shrimp.
25, my.
Yes.
He doesn't own the one in Baldwin Park?
No.
No, okay, yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of selective of some of where we took over the one in Ontario here this last year, and it was an operating Sizzler and was doing fairly well, but he said, I cannot operate that the way, in the condition it's in. So that's the kind of elevated person that he is. So I think this store has done really well, and it's maintained pretty well, but it's gotten old and it needs a lot of work. So it's coming.
Fair enough. Okay, Bob, thanks for your testimony. I'm just going to open the public hearing just to see if anyone's interested to speak on this topic.
She's against it.
Too much work.
Okay. Given we have no speaker cards as well, we will close public testimony and open it up for commission discussion. Anyone?
Well, I'll take a shot at it. You know what I mean? What the heck? Where to begin? No. You know, obviously we approved the last proposal, you know, with enthusiasm, and you know, I'm still thrilled with the design. I think when that's done with the addition of the stone and the color and the awnings and all that, it's going to really pop. Because right now it's just kind of blends, you know. So this is going to really make it pop. So we've already approved that, and I think you know, I'm frankly delighted to see that the owner is. You know, this is costing a lot of money, and I was going to spend more money because he obviously feels, you know, very positive and enthusiastic about the future of that location and, you know, that area in general. He wants to add more seats. He wants to add more kitchen. You know, this is to the rear. I went out there today, and, you know, I mean, it's just, you know, landscape and pavement. So, you know, that it's no problem there. And I agree with our chair that, you know, when you go by, you know, patios sound nice. You know, gee, let's do a patio. But nobody ever sits out there. You know, I mean, they usually, you know, it's very rare that you see a lot of people out there. So I think it's a good idea to probably enclose that, make it more workable and manageable. And of course, we already approved that. So, you know, I'm ready to go on this.
Thank you for that, Commissioner Redholz. Any other commissioners? Jeff?
One thing I want to be clear on, just so Herb and the rest of you understand, you did approve it, but they're withdrawing that approval and proposing it again here. So this approval will knock that other one aside, and that one other one won't be in existence. This will take its place. So you you're reapproving it, basically.
Okay. I guess I saw Commissioner Castellanos.
Well, I'd like to echo Commissioner Redholt's sentiment. I was happy with it the first time. Now there's more to be happy about. So with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve. If we could have some resolution numbers, please.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay. First from Commissioner Castellanos, second from Commissioner Redholtz.
Okay, so it's a precise plan, so the resolution number will be 18-5960. I'll cover something just so you know, because you may or may not have thought about this being in the downtown plan. It is in the downtown plan, and this complies with the downtown plan because they're doing a small addition to an existing building. If they were to tear down this building, we would be having a very different discussion because of the way the downtown plan, what it's trying to achieve there. But because they're doing a small addition to an existing building, that code does allow for those kind of minor changes to keep this sort of suburban model design in place for the time being. So I did want to cover that because we neglected to put that in the staff report. So yes, 5960, and we have a motion by Commissioner Castellanos and a second by Commissioner Redholtz.
Do we need roll call, Jeff?
Yes.
Okay.
Commissioner Holtz?
Aye.
Commissioner Redholtz?
Aye.
Commissioner Castellanos?
Aye.
Commissioner Hing? Chairman Jimenez?
Yes, aye. This action is final unless appealed to the City Council within 10 days. Good luck, and let's get working quick and let's open that thing up quickly.
Malibu chicken by January, that's what we want.
There you go. Yes. Thank you.
Nice shirt.
Okay. Moving on to non-hearing items, we have a very contentious item here, study session regarding Planning Commission stipends.
Well,
Jeff?
So, yeah, I think you are the crowd on this. I provided you a very short summary from what I understand. Obviously, some of you are aware, I'm not involved in that discussion. I just get to be the bearer of the news. But it was discussed at a council meeting on June 11th, and it was decided to change the stipend from basically $75 a meeting and a total of $150 a month to $75 a meeting, but no more than $75 a month. So it's kind of an interesting situation, which I think what it'll be is you get paid for the first meeting, but you don't get paid for the second meeting if we have a second meeting in the month. And maybe that's better, I don't know, because some months we only have one meeting, so. Well, we'll wait for the motion and the resolution on it.
Or a donation form, please.
I have a question. I mean, this is the definition of double talk in my view, the way it reads. 75 a meeting and up to 75. But anyway, I mean, I understand that's what the geniuses, the council did. So the question is there one check that comes? I mean, say we have 2 meetings, you get 1 check. I mean, is that something you can answer, or?
Well, I'm not sure. I don't even know what you get now, or what.
No,
were you
there's
before?
2. You get
but
two,
I believe
two checks.
You get 2 checks a month.
Yes, if there's 2 meetings, you get 2 checks.
No, you'll get 1 a month.
So it'll be 1 check for the 75 less, so it's about $12 after all the deductions. No, but so there's 1 check. Okay, no matter. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
That's how it'd be.
So it sounds like we would get the check for maybe like the first meeting or however that's structured.
Yeah, generally it's
but not necessarily the second meeting.
Yes, if there's a second meeting, you wouldn't get it for the second meeting.
So just look for very low participation in the second meeting.
So do we have a motion for just 1 hearing a month?
Very adaptable over here, so we'll with the changes, as they say.
Okay.
No, just for I'm very happy to make any kind of small little contribution we can to get the city out of an $8 million hole. And if this helps, then by God, let's do it.
Agreed. I think you have 10 days, but I don't know if weekends count, so better check. Is it business days, Jeff, or? $75. That's it? Receive and file?
That's receive and file.
Okay.
Receive it and file it, you know where to put it.
Okay. Continuation of oral communications.
One at a time, please.
Okay. Given no one's present, that will conclude the continuation of oral communications. Moving on to commission reports, comments, and miscellaneous items. Commissioner Redholz.
Thank you. Now, this is, I just want to, I attended the July 4th festivities, which were held for the first time at Big League Dreams. And, there was some concern among a lot of people that it's a different location, it's not the easiest place to get to or to find. And they were thinking, gee, maybe 1,500 people, maybe 2,000 if we're lucky, because you got to shuttle people back and forth. They were shuttling from the senior center back and forth to Big League Dreams up that hill. And by golly, almost 6,000 people showed up. 6,000 people. And people were literally climbing up that hill, dragging their their coolers and everything else, and the kids and the dog and everybody, dragging them up that hill. And it was really something to see. And, I talked to a lot of people there, and the difference with this particular location is there was mostly West Covina residents, where in the past, whether it was Cameron Park or Edgewood, it would draw from really, the West Covina residents were kind of outnumbered by other neighboring cities that would go to the show. But this was pretty much West Covina residents. And the interesting thing was, when you talk to people, number one, it was the first time they'd ever been to Big League Dreams. Some of them didn't know it was there. Literally. They said, oh, I've never been here. And how long has this been here? Oh, I don't know, 10 years. And they drive up and down, but you can't, you can't really, you can see it up there, and you can see the little monument sign, but most people just don't know what's up that hill. A lot of people, the people that have been here for years know that that's the old BKK, toxic waste dump area. But, it's obviously, there's other proposals for perhaps other things to go up that hill. But, it was a great show. Big League Dreams was prepared. They did a great job, because in the past you had vendors and you had other things, but you had you could bring food, but you couldn't bring, other things. But they were prepared. They handled it, did a very professional and good job. And when the thing was over, it was amazing how clean everything was. People cleaned up after themselves, and staff was there to take care of them. By the way, staff did a great job at all levels. I want to give them kudos. They did a fantastic job. They learned what they needed to do if it happens, if we're able to put on a show next year. They learned a lot about what they needed to improve upon. But the one thing I noticed, and I'll at the next council meeting, I'm going to suggest or bring this up, but it seems to me that Big League Dreams facility is a very underutilized property in the city. We could be doing, I think, a lot more programming there. Right now it's kind of, this is the first time a major big city event was held there, and people showed up. So I think we need to look at that. As far as community services, not our deal, but I think, community services needs to look and see what we could do to do more programming there. No matter what, you could do all kinds of things up there. It doesn't have to be sports related. You can do a lot of things. It's a park too, and I'd like to see it, used a lot more, but, congratulations to everybody involved, and the public seemed to enjoy it. The fireworks show was fantastic. And, I hope we're able to continue with it next year. That's it. Thank you.
Interesting observation. So 6,000 inside the Big League Dreams?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. I actually had the perspective of parking outside closer to Amar, and I have to say there were a ton of vehicles in the parking lot where the Target, the old Food Grub or Food Hub, that location, it was full. I don't even think the shopping center when it opened was that full. So I noticed there was a lot
and that's
of
a good point. I think maybe a lot of people found out, hey, we got a Home Depot down here. Was that a Target? How long's that been here? Just people, tend to just kind of, go to their little area, and that's fine. They don't really, explore even their own city, especially that end of the city. Some people just don't go over there. It was great. I went to it, but I could have my daughter-in-law was saying, she watched the thing out of the kitchen window. I'm half a mile away. You could see the whole thing for the first time ever. So, it was great. It was, and of course, we had a good band that, Smokin' Cobras, I think was their name. They did a nice show. You know, everything was good. It was great. I just hope we can do it again next year.
Thank you for that. Any other commissioners? Any comments? Okay. Planning Director's report.
We have the forthcoming and the project status report for you on projects that have been approved by the Planning Commission over the last couple of years. On the forthcoming, we do have next meeting is probably just going to be a study session on the marijuana code amendment, the commercial cultivation of marijuana, just to be clear. So that's probably the only item that will be on that. It seems to be, that's on the 24th, yes. And then, yeah, well, actually,
the next one we do.
It is on the calendar. It's just maybe hard to see. It's
the one after that we have nothing.
It's not under public hearing. That's why it looks like there's nothing. It's under a non-hearing item.
I do have one question.
We have nothing right now on the, although Commissioner Hing is correct, we have nothing on 14th.
Right.
It's a little early. We still might have something, but right now we don't have anything scheduled.
Is there any, I'm getting people asking me what's going on with the Merrill Gardens project. I mean, you know, that it's been, you know, covered and all that kind of stuff, and, you know, nothing seems to be going on. I know the building's going to have to come down, you know, but do we have any idea where they're at on that?
Well, they're working on it. We just working with them on the landscape plans recently, so they're close. I think that I'm a little surprised we haven't seen anything yet, but one of the things that happens is there's a wireless facility on that roof. They've got to get the temporary wireless facility up and running and, you know, electrified, if that's the right word, before they will be allowed to tear it down. Because they're contractually obligated to allow that. So that's been part of it. I can't say that's all of it. You know, most of the time these guys have their own schedules and their own issues that they're dealing with, and it has nothing to do with the city. And I think that's partly the case here. Because I'm a little surprised myself. I thought we would have seen action in the last month, but maybe we will in the next month.
Project status report for July, Jeff?
Nothing to report there. That's just for your edification, how the projects are proceeding. I do have one thing. You may have noticed the tension over here on this side of the room. Christine has decided to abandon us, and so this will be her last meeting, so we won't have her to kick around anymore. But we want to wish her well as she goes.
Didn't you just promote her 10 minutes ago?
No, I demoted.
Can we use her salary? Can we take?
She will start looking tomorrow because they keep demoting her.
I just found out.
Can we use her salary to cover her stipends?
I wish that I could
I'll second
make that motion, but I just want to say thank you. It's been an honor and a privilege to work with you guys and present to you guys, and thank you for everything.
So Christine, which fine community, well, correction, you're leaving a fine community where you can infuse all the great planning knowledge that Jeff has bestowed upon you.
I will be sharing all the knowledge and the experiences and values and principles that you all have given me to the city of Beverly Hills.
It's Beverly Hills. Look at you name dropping. Wow.
I try not to, but it's kind of difficult for a name to not be a name.
Yeah, that place is going downhill.
Yeah, it's an equivalent city, you know.
Yeah, they don't even want a metro out there.
It's like a mirror city, isn't it? It's pretty much, you know, a lot of movie stars. There's movie stars there too, though, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They don't have a show named after them currently on television.
No, they certainly don't.
That is true, yes.
Well, the Beverly Hillbillies was good, but that's many, many years ago.
That was a great show, by the way.
I love Beverly
Yeah,
Hills.
Ron and Jeff and everyone at the department was talking about Beverly Hills Chihuahua or Chihuahua Beverly Hills and COP. So there's a lot of
Beverly Hills
research
Cop.
that I'll be doing prior to going there.
And don't forget Pretty Woman was filmed there, too.
Beverly Hills 90210.
90210.
This is not a promotion or a plug to everyone watching, but yeah.
Well, we wish you the best, Christine, and you know, hopefully you can come back one day and share your knowledge, and we wish you the best in your continued growth and planning.
Yeah, it was a pleasure working with you from this side. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, I guess we'll adjourn in your honor, right? The time is 8:23. That concludes the regular Planning Commission meeting for July 10th, 2018. Have a great evening.